Everyone's stars burn out at some point, but only a handful fall from grace as catastrophically as these celebrities. These are the stars you may not realize have been in jail for quite some time. Amy Locane got her first big break with a recurring role as Andrea Winger in the short-lived 1980 sitcom Spencer. She mostly stuck to television for the next few years, but it wasn't long until she made her leap to the big screen in 1989's Lost Angels. Locane followed that performance up with an even higher profile film, the 1990 comedy musical Cry Baby, where she starred alongside Johnny Depp and Ricki Lake. The rest of the 1990s saw the actor appear in a wide range of projects, including the hit TV series Melrose Place, the acclaimed drama Blue Sky, and more. Locane's acting career experienced a massive setback when she caused 2 car accidents after having too much to drink at a wrap party for a theater production in 2010. Sadly, the second of these accidents proved fatal, resulting in the death of Helene Seaman. The actor was found guilty of 2 charges and was given an initial sentence of 5 years in prison, which was ultimately reduced to 3. However, Locane's legal battles didn't end there. Despite being paroled, she has been given multiple additional sentences since she was first convicted in 2012 on the grounds that her initial sentences were not harsh enough.
Amy Locane is a horrible human being, driven by ego and pride.
In 2020, Locane was sentenced to an 8-year prison term. After Netflix launched Cheer in early 2020, the biggest star of the reality show about the elite cheerleading squad at Navarro College was Jerry Harris. Raised by a single parent who died just before Harris went to college, he exuded a can-do spirit and charisma that won him and Cheer high-profile fans like Reese Witherspoon and Ellen DeGeneres. For most of 2020, Harris was one of the most liked reality TV stars in the US and easily the most famous cheerleader in the world. Then, in September 2020, teenage twins filed suit, alleging that Harris texted them messages of a sexual nature, demanded they send explicit photographs of themselves, and also attempted to make one of the pair perform a sexual act on him during a 2019 cheerleading event. Harris faced arrest over the situation, and after he confessed to soliciting photos from more than 10 underage individuals on Snapchat and engaging in sexual activities with a teenager, the FBI investigated him even further. In December 2020, the federal agency charged Harris with sexual exploitation of children and criminal reception of child pornography. He entered a guilty plea in February 2022 for the assault at the cheerleading competition and offering payment to a 17-year-old in exchange for sexual materials. In July 2022, a convicted Harris began serving a 12-year sentence in federal prison. Goth-tinged alternative metal band Lost Prophets came out of Wales in the early 2000s and scored some major rock radio hits in the UK and beyond. Their song Last Train Home topped Billboard's alternative rock chart in the US, and follow-ups Wake Up, Make a Move and I Don't Know became just as inescapable. The band was essentially the mouthpiece of singer Ian Watkins, who was both the group's founder and songwriter. However, in 2013, Watkins was convicted on 13 charges that the presiding Crown Court judge claimed, quote, plunged into new depths of depravity, according to the BBC. All 13 crimes were sexual offenses committed against children.
There is no doubt in my mind that Ian Watkins has exploited his celebrity status in order to abuse young children.
Among Watkins' convictions were 3 counts of sexual assault, 7 counts relating to the possession or creation of child sex abuse material, and conspiracy to rape a child, specifically an infant. Watkins' defense attorney unsuccessfully argued that their client shouldn't be held accountable because his prodigious drug use left him with no memory of committing the acts in question. 2 women who provided Watkins access to the children he abused were tried and sentenced to prison as well. Watkins, who the judge felt possessed a, quote, complete lack of remorse and was a danger to the community at large, received a 35-year sentence. When mixed martial arts exploded in popularity in the 2000s, War Machine, whose birth name was John Copenhaver, stood among the sport's most prominent fighters and biggest successes. In a career that spanned from 2004 to 2013, he amassed a record of 5 defeats against 14 victories, of which 8 were knockouts or technical knockouts. War Machine participated in many major mixed martial arts circuits, including Extreme Fighting Championships, Bellator MMA, and UFC. He was also a cast member of the UFC-branded reality TV series The Ultimate Fighter. Less than a year after his last fight, War Machine found himself at the center of an extremely ugly and violent incident. In 2014, he went to the Las Vegas home of his former romantic partner and kidnapped, assaulted, and sexually assaulted the woman. He also brutally attacked a friend of the victim present in the home at the time. War Machine was charged with 31 counts overall, and a Nevada jury found him guilty of everything but 2 counts of attempted murder. Sentenced to life in prison, War Machine will be up for parole in 2053. Kris Wu parlayed his success in K-pop into opportunities in the English-speaking entertainment world. Once a rapper and a singer in the South Korean-based boy band EXO, the Canada-born Wu focused on a solo career and began acting in films in the mid-2010s. He co-starred in the Chinese blockbusters The Mermaid and Journey to the West, The Demons Strike Back, as well as in the American-made big-budget action movies XXX, Return of Xander Cage, and Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. In July 2021, a woman filed a complaint with police in Beijing, China, alleging that Wu coerced her into a sexual encounter when she was 17 years old. In 2020, he reportedly had an employee bring her to his home to supposedly interview to appear in a music video. However, he instead used alcohol to intoxicate the woman and then assaulted her. Wu was arrested, and 2 additional women came forward with similar accusations, while other public figures and teenage women attested to Wu's online sexual harassment. He was jailed, tried, and convicted. In November 2022, the Chaoyang District Court found Wu guilty of rape and issued a prison sentence of 13 years. Skateboarding emerged as a viable professional spectator sport out of California in the 1980s. Mark Gator Rogowski was part of that scene, and by the time he was 14, he was winning statewide skateboarding contests. He went on to earn upwards of $100,000 in annual winnings and endorsements. By the early 1990s, Rogowski was consuming a lot of drugs and alcohol, which foreshadowed his descent into criminal violence and murder. In 1991, after Rogowski split with his partner, he encountered an old friend of his ex-girlfriend named Jessica Bergston. They spent a day together, and at the end of it, Rogowski used an anti-car theft device called the Club to brutally beat Bergston. After beating her, he sexually assaulted her, placed her into a surfboard bag, and strangled her to death. He then buried her body in the California desert. For those crimes, Rogowski received a sentence of 31 years to life. Eligible for parole in 2011, he remained behind bars when the San Diego County District Attorney denied his petition. Successful parole approvals in 2019 and 2022 were ultimately reversed by California Governor Gavin Newsom as well. In the 1960s and 1970s, Roy Estrada contributed bass guitar to 2 of the most important and definitive bands of the era. From 1964 to 1975, Estrada played off and on with the Mothers of Invention, the support musicians for experimental rock legend Frank Zappa. When he wasn't actively recording or touring with the Mothers, Estrada was busy with Little Feat, the swamp rock group he co-founded that would go on to record multiple well-regarded albums. With his era of relevance long since past, Estrada made headlines in the 2000s for his criminal behavior. After his release from a California prison for committing a lewd act with a minor, Estrada moved to Texas and repeatedly abused a female relative under the age of 14. The members of Estrada's family responsible for the child's welfare didn't know that Estrada was a convicted sex offender. For this series of crimes, he reached a plea deal with prosecutors and was sentenced to 25 years in prison with no possibility of parole in 2012. A prolific hitter in Major League Baseball, Mel Hall entered the league playing for the Chicago Cubs in 1981 and broke out in 1983. That year, he hit 17 home runs and racked up 56 runs batted in. He'd spend a few years in Cleveland and then head to the Yankees, amassing nearly 1,200 hits and more than 600 RBIs altogether. After leaving American baseball in 1992 to play in Japan, Hall returned to the MLB briefly in 1996 before retiring for good. He moved from pro baseball to amateur athletics, where in Fort Worth, Texas, he coached girls' teams in softball and basketball. In 2009, Hall was convicted for crimes perpetrated against a 12-year-old member of his basketball team. He was charged with 3 counts of aggravated sexual assault and 2 counts of indecency with a child. Several teenage athletes Hall had coached testified against him, stating that he'd taken improper liberties with them. These acts included unwanted touching, explicit conversations, and sexual assault. Hall was sentenced to 45 years in prison, with eligibility for parole arriving 22.5 years into the term.
Yo, what's up, guys? Did you like that trendy hip-hop beat?
Austin Jones was among the first wave of celebrities who used YouTube to make themselves famous and get a mainstream entertainment career going. While still a teenager in 2007, Jones made videos of himself singing well-known songs. Branding himself an emo a cappella singer, Jones went on to roll out original material, release multiple albums, and tour, all while maintaining his status as a YouTube sensation. Through his efforts, he attracted more than 500,000 subscribers who watched his videos and amassed many millions of views. As Jones was a youthful-looking teen idol, he attracted many fans in their teens or younger. Sadly, Jones used his platform and fame to exploit them. In 2017, the singer was arrested after he reportedly used Facebook to encourage his followers, some as young as 14, to send him sexually explicit and nude images and videos. Jones agreed to a plea bargain, and in 2019, a Chicago judge sentenced the YouTube personality to 10 years in prison.